Hi, I'm Ty, Head of Development here at RetailRight. Today I'm going to be running you through how to set up your preferences. So when you first log in after creating an account, you'll see this setup helper. And the first three items on this list are required to begin creating items. And the three after that are optional, but we do recommend having printers. So we'll start with store. Create our store. Store. Just gonna throw some fake data in here. And then the receipt title store name is different from this store name. So this store name up here will be used internally in our system. So whenever you go to add quantity to a store or whatever, this is the name that will be displayed in the system, and this is the name that will be displayed at the top of your receipt. So it actually doesn't even need to be store name if you don't want it to be, but we're going to use our store name. And then you got your receipt footer, and this will print at the bottom. And we just have this in here by default, and you can go ahead and change that if you want. Okay, and then next we'll go, so you got edit store and edit preference options when you hover over a store. So edit store will just allow you to edit everything we just created, and then edit preference options will take you one step deeper. And the reason for that is actually the classification. So I'm going to go ahead and create the defaults real quick, and then I'll create one. So these are the defaults we'll provide you if you want to use them. And here's the reason. The classifications have an EBT and is text attached to them, and these come into play when you get to the POS system. So any items that say are grocery, and if we turn EBT on. So now any items that are grocery that we go to check out in the POS will be eligible for EBT if needed. And same concept with tax. So if you needed grocery to be not taxed, you could go ahead and turn that off, and it wouldn't be taxed once you get to the POS. But let me create a second store real quick, because there is something I want to show you. Okay, I created a second store real quick. So you see the same options if we hover over that one. And let's go in, and you'll see, so that EBT is not there for test store 2. And that is why we separate them out like that. So say you have two different stores in two different states with different rules. So say grocery is not taxed in whatever state this store is. So let's just turn it off. And actually when we go to save, it's now going to ask us if we want to apply this change to all our stores. And since it's only a unique rule to the state of this store, I'm just going to say this one. So now if we go back to the other one, you'll see still text. But if you do create new ones, so let's do that. Let's do toys. And then the discount on these are applied on item creation. So there'll be an example of that in the item creation video, linked in the description of this video if you want to see that. More in-depth explanation of that. But I'm just going to create this. And now if we go, we're in test store, we'll just test store, and if we go to test store 2, you'll see we still have our toys there. And the discounts actually follow as well. So if I change this to 10 in test store 2 real quick and go back to this one, 10 on toys. And then the rest of these are really the same concept. Create condition or default conditions real quick, and these are just simply name, and discounts is the same thing, except discounts are applied on POS. So these two are applied on item creation, the discounts, and this discount is applied on at time of sale. So we'll just create our defaults here. So we got 10%, 25%, and then the same It's just a name and a discount. So those are your main preferences, and actually if we go to scan, you'll see you're now able to create items, but since this video is focused on preferences, we're going to go ahead and continue down the line. So next is employees, and this is pretty self-explanatory. You just create a separate account for all your employees, that way when we log stuff, you'll know who does what, because we log on item creation, we log on quantity changes, we log on item sales, and all of that. So I'll just create a test employee. And they can change their password once they log in if they'd like. And then you have your permissions. So if you didn't want them to be able to look at items or edit items, you can disable that. If you don't want them to be able to go in the POS, you can disable that. If you don't want them to look at your reports, you can disable that. And if you don't want them to import items, you can disable that. I'll just keep all checked and create the employee. And there they are. Okay, and then consignors. So if you're taking any items from any other businesses or people and selling them for them, this is where you would go to create those people. So create a test consignor, and then a fee. So this consignment fee percentage would be like what you take from the sale. So you don't have to set this. You'll be able to set the dollar amount to whatever you want per item if wanted, but if you wanted it to auto-calculate and you had some sort of deal with someone where you just take 10% of the sale or whatever, you can just put that in there and create them. And there'll be a more in-depth video on this, and I'll link that in the description as well. And then next is online site. This tab will actually disappear once you complete this because you only need to do it once and it's not editable. So make sure whatever you choose for this is for sure what you want it. It's just the product showcase, and there'll be a video on the product showcase as well. But we just use RetailRight for ours. And if you navigate to that URL, it'll take you to our online product showcase. And then you got POS settings. So if you go to our POS real quick, you'll see there's the today's sales. So if we had any, they would be there, and if we had any returns, that would be there. But if you didn't want employees to see that, or maybe customers are able to see your screen or something, you don't want them to see that, you can hide sales in POS and save there, and they're gone. And then this is for if you are partnered with our payment processor. There'll be a separate video on this, so I'm actually just going to skip this. And of course, there's billing. So if you happen to be on a free trial, you can come in here and select a plan and put in your payment information and sign up. And if you want to save a little money, we got quarterly, save 5%, and annually, save 10%. And yeah, that is basically your preferences and getting them set up so that you can actually use our software.